Today in this YouTube video, I'm going to be sharing with you some of the books that has really helped me on my spiritual journey. These are books that has been with me ever since I began my journey, has really helped me to change my perspective on a lot of things, helped me answer a lot of questions that I've had. And so today I'm going to be sharing these books with you. So the first book that I have really found to be very helpful for me on my spiritual journey is the Sanatana Dharma. This is a book that was given to me a couple years ago by my spiritual mentor. This is a advanced textbook. This was actually a textbook that was studied in India a couple centuries ago. And for me, this book was truly that book that really opened me up spiritually, answered a lot of the questions that I had about myself, about existence, about karma, about a lot of spiritual concepts, esoteric concepts, and I just found that this book is a great compilation of the readings from the Vedas, the Upanishads, and the Bhagavad Gita. This is such a great, summary of all of those spiritual texts. If you are somebody who have found yourself feeling, like you cannot really interpret the Vedas or the Upanishads because they might be a little bit of a challenge for us to interpret it, I have found that, the Sanatana Dharma is a great book in allowing us to understand those spiritual concepts, to understand those spiritual texts in a much more watered down version, in a much more easier way. The Sanatana Dharma is an advanced textbook on Hindu religion and ethics. So it goes really in depth with Hindu religion, the spiritual aspect of the Hindu religion, the scriptures. It draws upon all these very, spiritual aspects of things. And I found that this book has really helped me so much on my journey. At first, when I read this book, it was a little bit more advanced, but I found that this is a book that I keep going to over and over again because it just answers the biggest questions. It answers very deep, profound spiritual questions that we might have. The second book is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. The book has also been one of those books that has come into my life and has really changed the way I look at presence and what it truly means to be present, how to really embody that energy. As somebody who struggled a lot with mental health issues, this has been one of those books that has really helped me so much. There's so much of tools in this book about presence and how we can start to implement presence in our life, how we can start to embody it. And I think that for me, before reading this book, I really struggled with understanding more about presence. I knew I could tap into that energy. I just did not know how I could tap into that energy. There was a lot of trauma. There was a lot of aspects of myself that was in the way of experiencing that present moment. And once I was able to really open myself up to the present moment, I started to become comfortable with it. I started to really embody that energy. And it's been a couple years now, and I've found that those tools that are mentioned in the book has really stuck with me. They've really helped me to grow spiritually. So this is a great book. If you are somebody who's just beginning your journey, this is a great book because the author really explains a lot of spiritual concepts in a very simple way, in a very spiritual yet very simple way to understand. It is great for somebody who's just beginning their spiritual journey. So I definitely would recommend this book. This book has really helped me a lot on my journey. One is The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. This is an autobiography. So the author really walks us through his entire journey of surrender, what it means to him, how he has really discovered this energy within himself, and how embodying this energy has changed his life. Surrender is a spiritual state. And a couple years ago, when I was really struggling with surrendering, I stumbled upon this book. This book was that book that really changed a lot of things about my life. It helped me to go deeper into surrender. And surrender is not something that is very religious in nature. It's not spoken about in a very religious nature. It's spoken about in a spiritual nature. And surrender being something that is very much more spiritual, is a very profound spiritual state within us that we all have access to. And so I think that this book is a great book for somebody out there who is asking the question, how can I surrender? You feel very called to surrender. Perhaps you just find yourself in a place in your life where you feel stuck. And I think that this book can really help somebody out there who's really understanding or trying to understand how they can become more surrendered to life. So the Surrender Experiment has been that book that really came into my life when I really needed it the most. And there's a lot of tools and techniques that the author has used in his life to really tap into that state. And I think that this is a great book for somebody out there who wants to know more about surrender, who wants to learn more about surrender. The fourth book is the Empath Survival Guide. This has been one of those books that came into my life when I really wanted to understand more about my empathic nature, wanted to understand more about being an empath and how I can really manage my energy. And I was very much in that time in my life where I just felt like I was very sensitive. There was absolutely no way for me to really go out into the public and be okay. It was like I would just feel like I am being drowned, and that is how I felt energetically. It was very difficult for me to associate or socialize with a lot of people because of how sensitive I felt at that time. So the Empath Survival Guide is this really great book for somebody out there who is just beginning to discover their empathic skills, somebody who understands that they might be empathic but you just want more reassurance on that. I think that this book is really great, especially for somebody who has been an empath the entire life. And perhaps the spiritual journey has really helped you to understand more about yourself. And this is truly a guide where you learn a lot of tools and techniques to apply in your life that can really help you to come back into your own energy, to really cleanse energetically and to do a lot more when it comes to being an empath, because being an empath really requires a lot of self-care and a lot of things. So I think that this book is great. It's by the author Judith Olaf, and she really takes us through her personal journey of being an empath as well, and how her story has been, how her sensitivity has affected her life, her relationships. And I think that this is a great book for somebody out there who really resonates with the term empath. You'll find that this book will definitely resonate with you. It has really helped me to understand myself, understand my sensitivity, and also to really apply the tools that are in this book as well. This one is The Power of Intention by Wayne Dyer. This is a great book for somebody out there who is asking the question, what is intention and how can I tap into it? I like that in this book, the author speaks about intention as being a field of energy that's not just around us, but also within us. And I think that when it comes to the power of intention, this book really goes in depth on how we can manifest using intention, using it in a very powerful spiritual way. What can happen when we set an intention? And I like that the author also speaks about the various phases of intention and, talks about the power of it, the power of embodying this energy, and that it is all around us. So I think that this book really helped me to understand manifestation and how I can set an intention in a more conscious, aware way. If you are somebody who is asking the question, what is intention? How can I use intention to manifest? I think that this book is a great book. It has helped me so much on my journey to understand that and to really go deep with that. So The Power of Intention has been one of those books that has really helped me to understand manifestation and energy. Next book is The Stages of Higher Knowledge by Rudolf Steiner. It goes in depth with imagination, intuition, and inspiration. And this book was that book that I found when I was just discovering my intuition and asking the question, how is my intuition speaking to me? How can I strengthen my intuition? Or what is inspiration? What is true inspiration? you know And so I think that this book really goes in depth with answering those questions, also giving us a lot of information on how we can tap into higher knowledge, or how these aspects of ourselves that we can connect with on a daily basis is us tapping into higher knowledge. And I think that this is a great book for somebody out there who is just, discovering these spiritual gifts. They're discovering that energy within themselves. I think that this book can really help you to really expand on your knowledge on your gifts, expand on your knowledge of inspiration and how you can use imagination as well in a very powerful way. And so I definitely have felt that this book has been that book that came into my life when I was feeling very inspired, and I knew, I really knew that inspiration is a very spiritual energy, and I just wanted a little bit more confirmation and a little bit more knowledge on that energy that I was feeling very strongly within myself. So this book really answers those questions, and it really gives us a lot of information on those aspects of ourselves. I hope that this video has helped you in some way. I hope that you perhaps has resonated with one or two of these books and might give it a read. And so I just have found that these books has really helped me on my spiritual journey. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for receiving today. If you are somebody who is on the spiritual journey, you require guidance and you feel called to perhaps work with me, I do offer one-on-one coaching sessions. So if you feel called or you feel resonated with that, you can find my information down in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for receiving today. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.